Hey, everybody. Shane Presley, a Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to another brand new episode. Today's feature singer songwriter Logan Chapman. Had a lot of fun sitting down talking to him about his brand new album coming out, and we get into some stories behind some of the songs and talk about his big release party happening Friday night, February 24th. In Cape Giradeau, Missouri at Rude Dog Pub. And you're going to hear more about it on today's show. Do want to say a big thank you to Friendship Brewing Company in Wentzville, Missouri for their continued support of this show. Be sure to stop in and visit them in Wentzville, Missouri for all your craft beer needs. Over 25 rotating taps out there, and you can come by and get some delicious beverages. And you can get some dinners, and starting on February 22nd, they'll be doing some fish fries out there. So come get your fish fries on, and you got live entertainment starting February 23rd. You get your Singo Bingo Night 90s party mix happening. Friday, February 24th, Denver Wade Trent returns. And Saturday, February 25th, Jeff Waltshauser. You can find their full concert calendar, food menu, and beer menu at friendshipbrewingcompany.com. Be sure to plug in with them on Facebook and Instagram for more information, including about their two brand new locations gearing up here real soon. Flint Hill, Missouri, and Hannibal, Missouri. So if you are in the Flint Hill or Hannibal area, great news. Friendship Brewing is coming to you. You can find, again, all of it at friendshipbrewingcompany.com. Be sure to tell them Shane sent you. If you need anything from me, you can always find me at rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the socials. Feel free to email me at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. And with that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode with Logan Chapman.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
Hey guys, Logan Chapman here. You're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Logan Chapman.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is very exciting. We've been friendly for a little while now online, and but it's our first time actually officially meeting and getting to hang out and get to know a little more about each other. So yeah, man, I'm glad to be here and getting to meet you officially. And
yeah, I was gonna say it's nice to formally meet you. I've been kind of following your moves for a little bit, so
yeah, I've been trying to do my part, for a long time now to support St. Louis music, and it's a fun. This show has really opened the doors to meeting all kinds of people making music in our town. So it's fun, man.
it's a good thing.
Yeah. So, you're not necessarily originally from St. Louis, right? You said you were a little farther south.
Yeah, I'm about 2 hours south. I grew up in a little town called Chaffee. It's about 20 miles south of Cape Giradeau, about 3,000 people. So little small town. I grew up there pretty much my whole life. And then I moved to Cape for a few years. I kind of got acquainted with the scene around there. You know, guys like Isabella, the Scatterguns, stuff like that. I played a lot with them in a punk rock group called Odd Moses growing up. We were a little three-piece, kind of like a Foo Fighters, Highly Suspect, like Nirvana style punk rock band. But yeah, I lived in Cape for a few years, and yeah, now I'm up in St. Louis. So.
Yeah, nice, man. What? So I guess let's start with the early days, like of you and playing music. I mean, obviously you're a guitar player. Is always started with guitar, or was that number one?
Yeah, that was always number one. I've kind of transitioned to like playing keys and stuff throughout the years too, and like drums and stuff like that too. But guitar was definitely the first one.
Yeah. Got
my first guitar whenever I was 15, and yeah, been practicing and writing and all that good stuff ever since.
Right. Was that your parents get you into?
Not really. I grew up in a musically inclined family. There was always music going on in the house. My mom sings a lot at like weddings and stuff, and she's got a great voice too. Nice. My grandma was always singing, my aunt. So there was a lot of music always playing in the house, but it wasn't necessarily a nobody was really playing instruments in the house per se.
Mm-hmm. What kind of stuff you remember hearing as a kid playing through those speakers?
A lot of Dixie Chicks.
Yeah.
A lot of Dixie Chicks, honestly. Yeah, a lot of Whitney Houston, kind of like those really like soulful, got the great voice, you know, iconic voices. People like that. Mm-hmm. James Taylor as well. They were always really big on James Taylor. I remember hearing him a lot growing up. So that kind of, honestly, that probably is what really sparked my interest in songwriting, was just kind of like listening to all the stuff that James was saying as a kid and being like, wow, he's really painting a picture with everything he's saying right now, you know?
Definitely, man. Yeah, man, I've always been a fan for a long time of him, but he recently, like maybe, you know, within last year or something, whatever it's been, but sat down with Howard Stern and did like a 2.5 hour conversation, like on satellite Sirius XM, and just those two talking. And Howard does like a lot of times he'll like kind of cue up a song, or, you know, mention a song that, and then like wanting James to kind of play like a maybe verse chorus kind of thing, remind everybody of that song, but James just played the entire song. So like, because, you know, why not?
Yeah,
like,
why
not? So like you get like a full like James Taylor concert, and they were talking about all these stories behind the songs, and it was just like fascinating, man, to like sit and listen to icons talk for.
I'll have to check that out. I actually haven't seen that yet. I got his book not too long ago. I've been meaning to read it. I got a few of the books I got to read first, but I bought his book not too long ago. I'm excited to dig into that and read it. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like, songwriting has always been, I mean, I'm not a songwriter, but it's something I'm very passionate about. I love the storytelling and, the way, like you're saying, they use their words to sort of paint this picture where you can kind of, get lost in what he's saying or she's saying, and, you know, kind of start playing, you know, imagining what this world that they're singing about and stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
and you can relate your own story to it as well. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people, they listen to a song and they pay a lot more attention to the lyrics if they're going through a similar thing. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's like a breakup or whatever else, if they can relate to those lyrics, then that automatically ties them to that song. So
yeah, no, I mean, there's so much of that, like, that for myself as a fan and as a listener, like, I have these songs that, you know, take me right back to moments or make me cry, make me happy, you know, it's like they're definitely tied to emotions and stuff, and like, and that you relate to your own story. And
it's crazy how powerful music is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool stuff, man. Yeah. So where does songwriting enter your life? Like, I mean, other than, listening, when do you actually like think this is something you can do?
It's a good question. Let's see. I wrote songs every now and again, kind of growing up, just because, I guess. But then I had a really bad breakup at one point whenever I was about.
That'll happen. That'll do it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I was about 18. I feel like 18 or 19, and I didn't really have an outlet, I guess. Like I didn't really have people to talk to about it, and so I just started writing down all my thoughts on a piece of paper, and all of a sudden I started putting chords to it, and it's like, oh, okay, well, this is easy. Like this is a good way to relieve what I have going on in my life right now, and ever since then I've just been kind of taking it and running with it.
Yeah. Did you did any of those songs make it into the band stuff that you were doing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So actually, like I said, we were in a 3-piece band, Odd Moses. We released an album in 2019 called This, That, and Everything, and it's on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, all that good stuff. But yeah, a lot of those songs that I wrote back then, they ended up on that I think it's a 9-track album. So
okay.
yeah.
No, I'll have to definitely I didn't realize that. I was to go do some homework. And give it a spin.
Those are fun days, man. I always love. It's something about playing behind a band is just and I like playing solo acoustic too. But just like being able to hit a groove with like some good friends, I love that.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned those guys, Isabella and Scatterguns and stuff from the area, and I'm familiar with them a little bit. They both of them come up to St. Louis pretty often and play up here, so I've seen them. But what do you think like so far in coming to St. Louis? Like is there any real differences you see in compared to Cape Girardeau scene? Like I mean, is it besides maybe size wise and stuff? But
they're similar in a lot of ways, honestly,
right.
but they're different too. There's a lot of support behind music in both places. You go to Cape, you go downtown, there's bands playing like every single night, basically. A lot of people will go out to support. St. Louis is definitely a lot bigger. There's a lot more places to play. There's like towns that somebody will be like, oh, we're going to go play here tonight. And I'm like, I've never even heard of that place. Yeah. Apparently it's like 20 miles away from my house or something. But, yeah, it's basically just a big Cape Girardeau. They have a good appreciation for bands too. I've noticed it so I play a lot in like Southern Illinois a lot. And they have a really big solo, like acoustic songwriter style scene basically over in like Heron, McCanda, Marion. They're really into that. And like I said, I love doing that stuff, but I've noticed that St. Louis has the songwriter stuff, but then they've also got a lot of like, a lot of band stuff going on.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of variety.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Cape's that's a pretty good college town, right? There's
SEMO's over there.
Yeah. You got a lot of the college age kids at the bars and everything else. And
yeah, they every once in a while you'll get about probably a quarter of them to come and listen to music. A lot of them are out partying and stuff like that. It's a lot. How do I say this? They don't come out to shows near as much as what they used to. I remember back whenever I was in the scene, you could go to Mixing 10 at the time, and it would just be packed with college people. But now it's a lot of more kind of people who are my age, 25, 26, 27. A lot of those people are actually the ones that are going out to kind of go out and experience music. And don't get me wrong, there's still a bunch of SEMO students that'll come out to shows and stuff. But there's definitely, I've noticed a difference within the past few years.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think it's it all has its place, I think, and for there's days I feel like a little more listening room, kind of a quieter songwriter thing, or there's days I like to get a little rowdy with my friends and get 100%. Turn it up, and so it's nice having the options and stuff.
Variety.
Yeah. But you you are gearing up to release this would be your debut as a solo artist then?
Yes. Yep, it'll be my debut EP as a solo artist, and I've got Solstice is out there. We released that song as a single back this past April. But yeah, this will be my first official release basically. It's going to be a little 5-track EP. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, man. Well, let's get into this a little bit, and you mentioned Solstice, and let's talk about what this going into this, man. What's it like for you to strip the band away a little bit? You have some people accompanying you on these recordings and stuff, but as far as putting your first releasing the debut single and stuff, putting your name on it and stuff, what's that like for you?
It's surreal. We put a lot of work in. I'm with EXP Productions based out of Perryville, Missouri, and they've really helped me out a lot. I've been working with them pretty much this whole past year. We've been in the studio weekly trying to get these songs right. And they've done a good job at making it all a reality. You know what I'm saying? They've got great people that they can put behind you. So if you guys are wanting to record, check out EXP Productions in Perryville, Missouri.
Yeah. What? So, tell me about the track, how this all came about with Solstice. Like, is this
Solstice? So I wrote Solstice. It's basically actually, so like I said, I had that really bad breakup whenever I was 18 years old. I wrote this song back whenever I was about 19, 20 years old. And it was about taking all of the grief that I have from this love that I had just died, and I had found somebody else who had been my best friend like the whole time growing up, and it was just like right there in front of me. And then I kind of went to her, and then that song is just kind of like the leap from being in that low place that I was to finding somebody else who I love with my whole heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mixed up and it creeps up like a drug, and I've been binging for days and days. She says, well, you keep tearing down my walls, and I can't get enough, but I can't just throw it all away. So I keep searching for a reason to keep up, but I know it'll still be all the same. Summertime is on my lips, the changing rhythms of her hips, and all these moments that I miss, they follow me around. And all the while I still confess, this life I chose, it's such a mess. I'll make the most of it, I guess, even when my cards are facing down. Me think of you, I'm drunk off everything you say. Stumble through your head and hope to land somewhere in your bed, and even then I'm in a daze. So I keep searching for a reason to speak up, but all my words are still in vain. On my lips, the changing rhythms of her hips, and all these moments that I miss, they follow me around. And all the while I still confess, this life I chose, it's such a mess. I'll make the most of it, I guess, even when my cards are facing down. For a reason to be tough and act like everything's okay. Yeah, I've been looking for a reason to feel love, but you just threw it all away. Summertime is on my lips, it's just like the taste of her kiss, and all these moments I still miss, they follow me around. And all the while I still confess, this life I chose, it's such a mess. I made the most of it, I guess, but now the sun sinks down. The sun sinks down.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, man. Great tune, and like you said, now available on all your streaming platforms.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you can give it a spin and add it to your favorite playlist. And
There's a music video for it as well, actually. EXP, we all flew out to Cancun, Mexico, and we shot a music video on the beach. So if you guys are interested in the music video, it's also on YouTube.
all right. Yeah, man, that sounds like a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Yeah.
A little too much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been to, I've never been out of the country, but I've never been to Mexico, but that's definitely something that I want to do for sure.
Definitely. It was a fun time, and we were up before the sun rose every single day, so we were getting our work in, but we had a good time there too. Like it was a fantastic time for sure.
Yeah. Does that I feel like some people I feel like might affect, but do you get inspired by your surroundings? Like say you go to sit on the beach in Cancun compared to here and like
Sitting in my bedroom.
yeah,
or something like that.
I mean, is there something like do you feel like more inspired to write more of like an island tune or anything like that, like a kind of a summer beach song or something, or do you feel like that your surroundings inspire what comes out, or do you is it more like you're emotional by the heartbreak and stuff like that?
It can go a different direction every time. I definitely feel like if I have a bad case of writer's block, then I'm like, all right, I gotta go somewhere and I gotta soak in some inspiration real quick. But it's kind of different because there's some times where I am just randomly in my office and I'm playing guitar. And I just kind of think of like a random little like lyric to write down over the chords and stuff. And I'll write it down. And then all of a sudden I'll get in this mode where it just like the page just starts filling up. And it's like, oh, so once you hit that creative mode, I guess you got to hold on to it. But it's different every time. There's certain things that will emotionally affect me to where I want to write songs, whether it's a negative aspect about my life or whether it's, like you said, going to the beach and just experiencing that and just kind of looking at the waves and being like, I'm going to write a song right now. Mm-hmm. So it's always different, and I try and keep it that way. I never try and kind of like rely on one tactic whenever it comes to writing songs. Like anytime inspiration hits me or creativity hits me, like I got to find a piece of paper and a pen.
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably good practice. Like just to constantly writing, and especially if it hits you, sometimes you gotta just keep up. It's like trying to put the pen to paper as fast as you can, trying to channel it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just interesting. I've heard different stories. Like I said, I follow a lot of different songwriters. So like was that story like that they like I think was it Nirvana or something they recorded in like that Manson house or something like that, or I think or it was
might have been the Chili Peppers you're thinking of. They recorded in that mansion.
Yeah, and stuff maybe it was Chili, but
they all went to that mansion and kind of locked themselves in there and were like, we're gonna write an album.
Yeah. So I just think like that stuff's kind of like it's interesting, those stories like that, or like they're trying to use the room to inspire some of the creativity and stuff.
Absolutely.
So.
And it works. And there's different tactics that work for different people. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, don't ever box yourself into one creative outlet whenever it comes to channeling like your songwriting or like whatever else. Like be open-minded. Try and get out of your comfort zone. Try and like you said, if you write in your bedroom all the time, try and get out somewhere. Try and find some inspiration. Go out on a walk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I did notice though, like listening to the EP, it seems a lot of your writing is maybe more inspired by true events, maybe, or at least like
definitely.
It seems like you write from more of a personal, thing, or at least like that's the way it comes off.
100%, like lyrically.
Yeah,
definitely. And I've been trying to kind of get away from that just a little bit. Like I'm definitely more in tune with writing about my personal experiences. But it is nice to be able to write about something that doesn't really matter as much, because like say if I'm doing good in life, I guess, and I don't really have a whole lot to write about, then it's like, well, I don't know. So I'm trying to kind of, going back to, like I said, trying to take your creativity and turn it in a different direction. I'm trying to kind of like, even like writing from like another person's perspective, like hearing like a story that like happened to one of my friends, maybe writing about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's like some of the greats, do that. Like
Jason Isbell, he's really big on that.
yeah, I mean, people they write these songs, and people they deliver with such conviction that people just assume like, yeah, that's he did that or whatever, that's like it's got to be a true story the way he's saying. But it's like not all these have to be a true story. It can always just be, again, like you're inspired by somebody else's story or the news, a story you heard there or TV or whatever, anything else.
Exactly.
It doesn't always necessarily have to be directly, 100% factual Logan Chapman story or something, kind of thing. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason's, man, he's a master of the craft too.
Man, I love his stuff, man. I love Jason Isbell. I love Drive-By Truckers, all that stuff, man. I love that.
Yeah. And it definitely seems like, you talked about some of the kind of the rock roots that you grew up in playing in bands. But this, I would say overall, this EP kind of leans a little bit more into that, maybe like a Americana at times, folk pop, like little.
I think so too.
Like there's some different.
Somebody was asking me the other day. They were like, "So what does the EP sound like?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't know. Like it goes in so many different directions."
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I definitely kind of dialed down the whole like, and you can still, like you said, you can still hear like the rock roots and stuff. But I definitely tried to kind of folk it up a little bit. Kind of make it a little bit more contemporary, I guess, like John Mayer.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna say definitely some pop and influences like that. Like there's some electric guitar solo still, so and even there's a saxophone.
Yeah, a saxophone solo.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different sounds coming through, and I, like I said, kept it interesting for me and for the for the listeners. There's a lot of different styles of as far as these collection of 5 songs. So but let's mention like the EP will February 24th.
February 24th. There's gonna be a album release show that night in Cape Giradeau at the Rude Dog Pub. Blind Velvet's gonna be opening for us, and those guys are awesome, man. Those guys tear the house down every single time. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's gonna be released everywhere on February 24th. So
and titled "Where I'll Be."
Yep, Where I'll Be.
And is that a lyric in one of these?
Not necessarily. So have you seen the album art yet?
Yeah, is that like I think it's on the event, right?
Yes. So the idea of Where I'll Be is I was kind of like I was talking with my girlfriend one time, and I was like, like I'm on a good path right now, but I have no idea where I'll be in like 3 or 4 years from now. There's no telling. And so the idea of Where I'll Be is basically that. Is like there's no telling where I'll be, but I'm going to keep on writing these songs. I'm going to keep on doing what I love to do.
Yeah.
And so the album cover is actually me standing on the Mississippi River, and good friend of mine, Haley Hutchison, and Brandon Eldridge, they both did the album art. And basically it's me looking out, and there's a bunch of art going on, a lot of abstract stuff going on in the distance. So yeah, basically it's me saying I have no idea where I'll be in a few years.
Yeah. It's an exciting thing to think about, man. Like, just like putting yourself out there, but the unknown of where this EP and where these songs might take you. And I mean, it's like, makes me incredibly proud to like see a lot of my friends that are letting music, take them around the world, and like their songs are opening so many doors for them to explore and get to meet new people and see the world and all this stuff. So it's like, and
you got to do that, man. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to let your intuition drive the ship sometimes, because I know a lot of people who have the passion for it, but they're just so scared of kind of getting out of their box and going out there. And it's like, no, like you can't, you gotta face the unknown sometimes. Sure. You gotta get out of your comfort zone, because that's really, really rewarding. And trust me, I know it's scary. I know that there is a lot of stipulations to it, a lot of negatives to it, but like, who knows what could happen.
Yeah. You were telling me, a little before we started, a little off mic, but you said something about that you had stage fright real bad.
Yes,
right? Like
yes.
Before this, like, so that's like, even that you're even doing this, like, that you put, like, again, like I think a lot of people have that. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, especially getting started, like it's tough so many people have so much anxiety about.
Well, your mind goes to the first negative thing is like people are going to laugh at me, or people are going to do this or that,
But getting out of your bedroom and getting on, putting yourself out in the public is the first like hurdle, like putting yourself out there. But like, so was that, how'd you overcome and how'd you end up getting past the stage fright?
Well, whenever I was in high school, like I said, I got my first guitar whenever I was 15 years old. And I wrote and I played all throughout high school. I didn't tell anybody that I do it. Like people knew that I sung good. But I didn't really, I don't know. I didn't want to perform in front of people. Like I was just I just got super nervous about it. And so one night I noticed that there was this open mic that was going on, probably about 20 miles from my house. And, I knew that I would know absolutely nobody there. I knew that nobody would know me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to come here. I'm going to play guitar. I'm going to sing for these people. And if it sounds good, it sounds good. If it doesn't, whatever. I mean, it's not like I might not ever see these people again, So I went there and I played and I got a really, really good reaction. I got had a good feeling about it after I left there. I was like, man, I'm so glad that I did that. And yeah, ever since then, I've just been kind of going out and facing my fears, I guess, every weekend.
Right. Yeah. But that's the thing, man. Like it's just, I'm glad that to hear it was a success and that, but like I said, like just putting yourself out there and seeing where this is going to take you. So, so far as everything's, seems to be working, man. We're off to a great start. You're playing all over, the, Midwest here. It seems like you're playing quite a bit, from St. Louis to Cape to, like I said, it's the Southern Illinois. So people all over are getting to experience your songs now here in the area. So, but yeah, I think it'll be exciting to have some proper recordings and have this EP out there. And
I think so too. It's going to be nice to finally have something that I can kind of hand to somebody and say, this is me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because everybody's always asking me like, you got any songs out there? And it's like, well, I got one song out there. But I'm excited to have a handful of songs that I can hand people and be like, this is exactly what I sound like. This is me on these recordings.
Are these gonna be in physical form? Are you doing any CDs or are you just digital?
I think
right now?
As of right now, I think I'm going to stick with streaming. Just for right now, I think I probably will get some CDs in the future. I won't get a whole lot of them, but yeah, probably in the future, I'll get a few CDs. Yeah. I might have some by the time for the album release show, but I'm kind of mainly going with streaming as of right now.
I think that's fun. I mean, I know obviously, it's not what it once was, but I do, as a collector, I love having a physical form.
Yeah, exactly. See, I'm really big on like on records.
I was going to say, you got vinyl over there in the corner.
Yeah, I got vinyl. I'm big on that. I actually just recently got big into that within the past like 2.5 years or so. Sure. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of CDs. I used to have a whole bunch of them, but I know that a lot of people still listen to CDs. So I do want to kind of give that to them and maybe, I don't know, like sign some CDs, something like that.
Well, especially like something like the release party or, even what you do playing some of these, local bars and stuff. People like taking it home with them, It's like instead of like remembering in the morning, what was that guy's name and what was the name of his album or what, that kind of thing.
For sure.
Not that you're forgettable, but just that, some maybe there might be under the influence of certain things. But,
100%.
But you go home with a CD, you're like, oh yeah, I like this, So I think all of it helps, just be able to sell it right there that night instead of having to remember to go do it in the morning or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you have a business card, people.
I'm big on business cards. I got way too many of them. Honestly, they're flooding through my car right now.
But I feel like they also like could easily be lost and things too. So it's like having a CD is a little more thing. But I don't know. But also like making it maybe making it like an exclusive thing. Like hey, we're only doing 100 of these. Get them while you can, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
Those little things like that too. I feel like are always fun as a fan. Like to have exclusive things.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
like, haha, I got this.
Right. Yeah, man. So I don't know, but yeah, I think there's no rules to any of this stuff. Like that's what's kind of fun about right now. Like as much as like there seemed like one time that was a little bit more of like a structure to the music business, but now it's like it's just
It's a freaking free for all out there, man.
There's no rule. People put the music out however they want and where they want, and how it's like. So it's just
social media is so big nowadays that you can. You got streaming, but then you got like TikTok and stuff like that. So there's so many different like outlets that you can experience music on social media.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you mentioned Mayer and something. Do you feel like those guys were a big influence as far as like coming up with some of the sound? Like, I mean, were you listening to a lot of that as you were writing this record?
I was. I listened to John Mayer like all the time growing up too. I've always been a big fan of his. But yeah, I was. I was listening to a lot of Jason Isbell. Those were the main two, I think. If I was going to take like two artists and say that like they were kind of like their sound at least was like the inspiration behind this album, I'd say Jason Isbell and John Mayer probably.
Yeah.
Especially the songwriting aspect. I'm a big fan of, like I said, I keep on going back to it, but Jason Isbell's songwriting, man, he's got some of the best stuff out there.
Well, I would say, so we did one live today called Cocaine Rich.
Yeah.
And I would say this is maybe more the Jason.
Definitely. It actually, so the line Cooley said, "Cocaine Rich comes quick." That is actually a line. So Jason's old band, Drive By Truckers, Mike Cooley was in that band, and he's got a line in Gravity's Gone that talks about Cocaine Rich. So yeah. So that's where it came from. I kind of like took that, wrote my own song about it.
Right, and then we're gonna share the live acoustic take that we did here in your living room, but on the album version that people will hear soon, there's it's definitely a little bit more rocker, kind of taps into, I feel
hillbilly rock.
It kind of taps into, I feel like as far as like Jason, maybe like a Super 8 Motel and
I've had a few people tell me that
kind of rockin' style like that a little bit. So but also it's lyrically, I think it's a good, it's a fun song to follow along to, because like it is more of a storytelling, like your
dark lyrics, happy song, basically.
Right. Yeah.
I was running through the snow with the bathroom sink pressed against my face. Could have sworn I turned the lock, but she opened the door in a state of disarray. When her senses finally clicked, she ran screaming through the party, bolted down the hallway. I said, "It's just a phase. Yeah, it's just a phase." When I woke in the morning, I still couldn't feel my mouth, with my nose running down my face, just like the Mississippi headed south. This could have happened in the springtime. Yeah, conveniently I lay on this cold November ground as my consciousness decays. And I've been running down a thin line, told myself I'm fine for too long now. And as a man I felt betrayed. Now my bags lay on the floor. Say the grass is always greener, and in its absence I get meaner. Guess I wanted something more. And as I watched her heart break, fire burning through my core, I told myself I'm not an addict. More or less just became a habit. Now I have to ask what for. Yeah. cocaine rich comes quick. You'd think if I was smart I might have give a shit. Now mama's crying saying tell me it ain't true. Could they say cocaine rich comes quick? Maybe if I was older I would give a shit. I never had a grasp on all I had to lose. So when the dust had finally settled, I could reflect on what I've done. And now I've held these wicked ways since just a month past 21. Every promise that I've broken, and every hollow pointed lie, it all pointed to another reason she should say goodbye. And I've been running down these white lines, I've been flying so far I'm gone now. And as the image slowly fades, I can hear the engine roar. And I think of who I used to be, and all those reasons she should leave. I guess she wanted something more.
Is this one of those that was inspired by true events, or does it come from a pretty real place? Some of these lyrics, or
yeah, I kind of blew it up in the song a little bit, but yeah, definitely comes from personal experiences that I've had, like in like my early 20s, especially, as far as just like running around downtown, getting involved with the wrong people, and then like in the last line of the song, I think of who I used to be. That's kind of just like me reflecting on all those different times that I had back in the day. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things where I took an experience that I had and I kind of blew it up and I made a song about it.
Sure.
So.
I mean, one like especially talking Jason is like Live Oak, like
I love that song.
The way he you know, a lot of people, it's disguised like as this like murder ballad, but you know, really it's him getting sober, you know, dealing with his sobriety, getting sober and then burying it, you know, and being finally killing it. And so I think that's what's like super cool about, like, even though it's like, you know, disguised this way is the story, like version of it. Like, it's not necessarily that he doesn't fully tell you what's going on.
Exactly. You could see it in two different ways. Like there are certain people who like you said, think it's like a murder ballad, and there are certain people who see it as the song is, you know, and I think he tried to do that. He tried to do it that way, as far as like you can interpret it either way. Yeah.
And then, but so as I'm saying, like, it's just nice that like you can take something. I mean, if as far as I know, like that's how sort of how I take it. Some of the you know, inspiration, or maybe that I haven't really talked
from the songwriting aspect.
I never talked to Jason about it, but like, you know, like, but like, it's just like, but able to take something like incredibly personal to him and make it more very universal story that people can listen to and stuff like. So
I follow him on Twitter, and he's been taking a lot of his songs off of the Southeastern album, and he's been kind of like dissecting them as far as like how the song came to be and what the song is exactly about, what certain lines mean. I've been finding that really interesting. So if you got Twitter, you should follow Jason, because he's always writing about that stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, that record is incredible. Yeah, front to back.
Big fan of that record.
And there's I was just talking about it the other day because somebody was saying something about discovering Jason through Morgan Wallen.
Yep.
And which kind of stung a little bit. But as long as they get there, that's the thing. I mean, that doesn't always matter how you get there, as long as you get there.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Morgan, made it a big hit on radio for, and covering Jason, but for Cover Me Up. I remember listening to that record though, and I think it came out like the exact same day as John Moreland's In the Throes. And it's another...
That's another amazing songwriter, man. I like his stuff a lot.
Yeah. But I
think my first song I heard by him was You Don't Care For Me Enough to Cry.
Sure.
Yeah, that was the first one that I heard, and I was like, oh, wow, man. I like this guy a lot.
Got a lot of... Very emotional, man. Like, there's a lot of, like... And so simple, but moves you. Like, it's just like...
Poetry, man.
Yeah. So
Poetry.
It's... He's like... And that's like what I think is fun about his style. Like, it's not necessary... Like, he's not the storyteller like Jason is. But he writes these beautiful lines. You're like, man, like, how do you come up with that line? Like, it's just like one after another. And it's just like I said, pure poetry. And like, but yeah, he's, so I remember listening to those two. Like, for me, they always go hand in hand. I think a lot of it probably because they came out the same day, but also like they're just.
It'd be cool if they collaborated.
Emotionally, they're like a kind of a similar tone too. They cover a lot of the same feel and stuff. And, but yeah, man, it's cool to hear that you're listening to those guys and they're and kind of influencing some of what you're doing today. And
definitely.
So let's talk about one more from the EP, and this will be we're gonna do an exclusive world premiere, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited.
This is a song called No Doubt. And again, this was will be appearing on Where I'll Be EP, due out on February 24th. Yeah, man, what comes to mind when you think about No Doubt? What's
my girlfriend, man. I wrote that song about my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I had this riff that I was writing for a long time, and I knew, like, it was kind of one of those songs where you play, like, I played the riff and I was like, oh, this is a happy song. This reminds me of this. You know what I'm saying? But then I was like, well, I got to write this about my girlfriend, Maggie, but I don't want to.
Shout out to Maggie.
Yeah. Shout out to Maggie Penrose. I guess I was intimidated by the fact that I was writing about something that was so precious to me, which I say that, but then I write songs like, I don't know, like Solstice and like Cocaine Rich and like stuff like that. But that one, I was just so intimidated by the fact that I was writing about my girlfriend. So it took a while to come out, but I think that I sat on the lyrics long enough that I was kind of satisfied with it whenever it came out. But it talks about, like, I don't know, just like all the adventures that we've had together, whether it's like going to Mexico and like having fun down in Mexico at like a resort or whatever else, taking trips. We're big travelers, so it has a lot of references to like traveling on there and stuff like that. But yeah, it's mainly just about her and the experiences of having her as my lover.
She was fierce. I'm a thorn, why can't I pierce your skin? Oxygen running thin like a new sonar. Cold, she was warm. She was bold just like a storm. Raining down, coming loud, bringing clouds, but now I'm shining through. But I'm in love now, leaving no doubt. Soft and strong and tossed right in my hands. Now I know just what I have. Clouds Acoustic spirals down. Times again, I don't know where I am, but I know I'm with her. Frames, places, and names, permanence of memories made. She's a high, take a stride, breaking tide on the East Coast in June. But I'm in love now, leaving no doubt. Soft and strong, and tossed right in my hands. And I could slow down, I don't know how. 'Cause every step I take, she's close behind. Every single time. Time.
A great tune, and it was like I said, man, this whole EP was a lot of fun, and it's so you as far as like playing this live coming up here for the release party, will you you do typically a lot of more solo acoustic stuff, but are you going to have some players to bring these songs to life for as far as what these recordings sound like for the show?
Yep, we're going to be a three-piece. I'm going to be playing guitar. We're going to have Al Herbie on drums and then Randy Preston on bass. So we're going to have a little three-piece going. So I'm excited for it because, like I said, I love grooving with a band before anything else. Like, I love the acoustic thing, man, but I love being behind a band. I get to play behind one every once in a while, but I do most of my stuff acoustic. So it's always a treat being able to get some guys behind me and have some fun.
Yeah. Are we gonna no saxophone?
No saxophone, unfortunately.
Yeah. That stuff's like it's obviously it helps make the record what it is and stuff, but like it's always interesting to see like how those are reinterpreted live sometimes, like how like sometimes different whether somebody tries to do like a different guitar lead there or something like that, like where to replicate or try to or whatever mimic what those what that was.
That's probably what I'll be doing is I'll just kind of be playing like licks on guitar where that'll be.
But it's just like those kind of things. Like it's fun to see how it's reinterpreted live and stuff sometimes. Or I've even seen like somebody do like like make mouth sound effects and stuff like stuff like that, like just 'cause it's kind of goofy, but it's also fun just to see.
There was a guy who went viral a few years back, but I guess he would do that at shows. I forget his name, but he'd play like Dust in the Wind and stuff like that.
But yeah, it just depends on the performer and the song and everything else, but so obviously some of those things are a little more difficult to do when you're playing solo or playing in a stripped down version of the band and stuff like that.
If I had four hands, I'd do it myself.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Yeah, so you can find, excuse me, you can find Logan on your Facebook and Instagram. Get plugged in there and find more dates coming to a town near you and more information about this EP as we get closer to release date and stuff. And
Yep. You guys can find me everywhere at Logan Chapman Music. So just type that in the search bar. Should be able to find me on everything.
But I do think that is cool. Like we mentioned, some of the small towns that you're hitting and stuff. Like you're maybe obviously we're based here in St. Louis, and there's a ton of people and a lot of different opportunities to play and stuff around here. But when you're hitting some of those smaller towns, like there's really not a lot of entertainment, and sometimes, there's some of these things you're, which I think is cool, man. It's like, it's nice that I know I mentioned living out in Wentzville, and there's very little live entertainment out there and stuff. So sometimes it's cool when somebody does come out there, because you're like, well, this, a show's coming to me. It's just up the street and stuff.
Yeah,
so
exactly,
it's like,
exactly. And I like playing, man. I like traveling too. If you give me an excuse to go to Cincinnati, Ohio, and play a show, I'll go play over there. I'll play in Pittsburgh.
Right.
I'll play if I got an excuse to go somewhere, play some music, and see some new things, man. Like it's nothing to me. I love it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this EP takes you there. It gets you out to doing a little bit more, touring and stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Yeah. Is that you think that will you plan anything like that? Try to do any kind of touring off of this?
Definitely. I would like to get a solid backing band behind me first.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I wouldn't mind doing like an acoustic tour. Don't get me wrong. But I haven't ever planned a tour before, like myself, because I mostly just kind of like I book shows like a few months in advance, and the day comes and I'm like, okay, I'm going to this place. But I've never really like planned a full on tour. But that has been something that's been on my mind. I got a buddy who planned one not too long ago, and he was just telling me like, man, you just gotta plan it so far in advance and be like, hey, I want to lock this date down next year. So I might try that eventually, but I definitely want to get a solid backing band behind me before I try something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I even, I don't know. I don't know much, but I feel like even you doing some weekend kind of stuff, solo, putting some feelers out there, and then, kind of establishing some connections, and then coming back with the band to do it upright and stuff, like that could be cool too. Like
I would love that.
Even just regionally here, that's what's sort of ideal about St. Louis. Also, is a great to tour out of it, because we are right in the middle of the map. So you can definitely hit Columbia, Kansas City, Chicago, Nashville, whatever. You can hit a lot of these bigger markets, and
I do. It is nice and convenient. It's like we're like right in the middle of the U.S. basically, so you can go out any direction.
Yeah. Which is, I've been hearing a lot more lately, like people moving to St. Louis and establishing themselves here because of that, and because it is a lot more affordable than, some of your other other cities. So
we were looking at prices in Nashville, and I was like, whew, might be a little bit before we go there.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. There's but it's with the power of social media and everything else, it's I think you can kind of make it anywhere now. You don't need to be on the coast or whatever. It's like,
I agree.
There are definitely a lot of opportunities in those cities and to do a lot of more things, but also you can make it on your own wherever, I feel like.
Exactly.
So.
There are perks to it, but I mean, it's just so you go to those places, it's so congested because everybody's trying to do what you're doing, and so I would like to get bigger on social media before I go to these places. That way I can establish myself, and I'm not just some guy walking up like, hey, I want to play a show here,
Yeah, sure. Well, hopefully we'll get some of that happening, man. I think that could be a lot of fun and getting out there and getting to share these songs with everybody. So hopefully coming soon.
Yeah.
But, I because you are doing what you said, you're doing this full time now, right?
Yes.
Yep.
For the past 2.5 years, I believe. So yeah. Full-time musician.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's like I feel like that.
Sometimes I feel like a full-time professional long-distance driver.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's. I feel like somebody said something along those lines, like that it's like not the playing that's the work, like it's the the load in and load out and the travel and everything. Like that's what you're getting paid for. The actual stage time is the playing and having fun, and that's so something along those lines.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of podcasts I listen to, a bunch of music that I listen to whenever I'm on the interstate, man. And sometimes it just drags by.
Yeah.
Like I played a show in Marion last night, and it's 2 hours there, so it's not too bad. But then driving 2 hours there and 2 hours back, and then I got a show tonight over in Oran, Missouri, so it's 2 hours there. Probably gonna stay the night there and then drive, somewhere else the next day. So definitely burning up the road for the most part.
Yeah. What are you listening to as far as podcasts? What's been on rotation lately?
I like Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. Big fan of that one. I'm actually really into I'm into UFC and stuff. So I listen to a lot of UFC podcasts. I listen to Rolling Stone Music Now's podcast because they do a lot of top 50 lists and stuff like that, and dive into different stories. There's another one. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it right now, but there's another podcast that's on the it's on the podcast. I don't know. I can't think of it right now, but yeah, those are a few. But I'm not too
Rock
picky.
Paper Podcast.
You do what?
Rock Paper Podcast.
Yeah,
that one. I listen. I mean, I work with my working in elementary doing custodial work, and I spend a lot of my evenings with my headphones on. Mm-hmm. Listening to for 8 to 10 hours a night, and so I'm always looking for something new to listen to. So that's what's fun about podcasting, is having all kinds of different variety, and then all sorts.
I bet that is fun. I bet you get a lot of music sent your way that you can kind of get lost in, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm always looking for new stuff, and it's fun when people send me something to listen to, and I'm I like especially an album or an EP, having a collection of songs and getting to kind of like just like yours, it was fun for me to give it a first listen, and even though we don't know each other, I can kind of get a little bit of an idea of who you are.
Definitely,
through these songs and stuff. I mean, you mentioned in your lyrics, being from Missouri. You mentioned, I think, even your age.
Probably too many times, honestly.
Being 24 or something, or whatever in the lyrics, I think you said. And so there's things like that, it's like you're finding these little moments where you're connecting to an artist and getting an idea of who they are and through their music. So
definitely. But
yeah, same thing through podcasts, man. I like the stories, and I listen to a lot more comedy podcasting lately.
I got you. Bill Burr has one, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the Crab Feast was the one that for me where I started, where kind of inspired me to want to even do this my own podcast and stuff. But so that was where I got. Then they did 7 years or something together. Ryan Sickler and Jay Larson, and so it's usually two comedians talking to a third comedian coming, and they just doing stories and swapping back and forth, and just so many laughs and great moments and stuff. But
100%.
That's I met Jay and at the Funny Bone one night, and he's like, "Hey, check out my podcast." And so ever since then, I've been hooked into it, and but yeah, that's fun, man. So I'm cool to hear out. I don't really listen to much. I know Armchair Expert a little bit, but I really, that's not one I've listened to much. So I mean, maybe go check that out.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of fun stuff on there. They got a lot of they had one with they had one with Dog the Bounty Hunter, and that's the most interesting, man. I had no idea that he had that he lived the life that he did. But there's just so many. You think of these random celebrities, and you're like, oh, okay, he's an actor, he's acted in this, he's probably got some fun stories to tell. But then it's how they grew up and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's the fun part to listen to.
Yeah.
So you mentioned comedy. We seen Nick Swartzen not too long ago over at the pageant. Man, that one was really really good. Yeah. We seen Nikki Glacier there one time too. She was really funny too. Which I think that she actually has ties to St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's from here.
Okay, so she's from grew. Okay, I got you. I didn't know if she had family here, if she grew up here, or what it was.
Yeah, her parents. Well, she's living here now. She's back. She left for a while, and but yeah, she's been back here living in St. Louis. Same thing we mentioned earlier about, cost of living and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
She can just hop on a plane and fly to whatever gig,
Yeah, there
she's
you go.
doing and stuff. So, she's, I believe she's been home living in St. Louis since the pandemic and everything. And,
Okay, that's cool.
And our parents still live here, and but yeah, I got to watch her kind of not get started, but I watched some of the early days of like her coming up at the Funny Bone and things, and
Oh, really?
in the smaller clubs. And
Where's the Funny Bone at?
well, there's two of them one in Westport area, Maryland Heights,
Yeah.
and one in St. Charles, Missouri, on the other side of the river.
Okay.
So
I've had a few friends tell me about that place. I've been wanting to go to a comedy show there. We've been watching a few more comedy shows than what we usually have been over the past few years.
Yeah.
Maggie and I, we used to always like go to concerts and stuff. And I forgot who it might have been Nikki was the first like full on like comedy show that we went to.
Yeah.
But I've been wanting to see some more comedy stuff, so I'll definitely check that out.
It's I mean, one of my favorite things, man. Like especially live, like just being in that room is.
I'd never want to be front row.
Yeah, it's just exciting. Like same thing with live music. Just never know what can happen, kind of thing. So, but yeah, there's two Funny Bones in the area. There's in Richmond Heights area, the Galleria. You got the Helium. You got which is probably a little closer to downtown. Then you got those are like the main clubs. And then you got a lot of alternative rooms and stuff that like a lot of people book. Some of these same thing with. Music and stuff like rock clubs and things like that. So
I think they just built they built a new venue in Chesterfield, didn't they? Not too long ago. Is it the Armory?
The factory.
The factory.
The Armory's in downtown.
Okay. The factory is what I'm thinking of then.
Factory's out there. And I got to see David Spade out there a little bit ago. That was a fun night for comedy. And, I think Nikki performed there a little while back. And, but yeah, great room, man. It's a cool spot. If
that's what I've been hearing. My buddy sent me a picture of it. It looked really cool. I've been wanting to go out there, whether it's for a comedy show or a concert or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it feels a lot like the pageant in a sense, like with the balcony and so, and then but their pit floor area is like the entire room instead of like just a smaller spot in front of the stage. So it's like
okay.
So once you're when you kind of walk in, like. You're on the dance floor level, and then there's like in the back of the room, there's some stairs that go up to like a bar area, and there's a little bit of like table seating and stuff on the main level, and then the top is all reserved balcony seating, and it's probably like a 3,000 something, low 3,000 cap, like so. But it's a big room, and there's been some really. They've been bringing a lot of great talent out there, all sorts of. Yeah,
I've been seeing a lot of really, really great acts there. I seen that they had like Boys to Men there not too long ago.
Yeah,
I'm wanting to say who are they having out there? They had somebody else out there here recently that was really, really good too, but I forgot exactly who it was. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of like really great acts come through there, and I'm like, man, I didn't even know this place existed. Honestly,
yeah. When the same, like I mentioned, it's nice to have. This a lot closer to me, being that way out west. So it's like seeing a great show when it's, 15, 20 minutes away compared to 45 to an hour, So there was one night, it was actually like the soft opening thing they did. And my buddies, Sean Cannon's Voodoo Players were playing. They did a bunch of like cover stuff down there that night. They play all over town doing like these kind of a weekly tribute to different greats and stuff. But that night they were just kind of doing like a shuffle thing, playing a lot of different music.
Okay.
And they posted online that, hey, we're doing the show at the factory and, it's free. And so I'm like sitting on my couch like, oh, well, I can make that. And like, the show, it was like, starting in a couple minutes, but I was only, 15 minutes away. So I just hopped in the car and went down there and
heck yeah,
got to check out the venue and get to see the show and stuff for free. And it was a good night.
That is really cool.
But anyway, so that's a whole new thing to me. Cause like I said, most time it's a whole ordeal having to plan, driving an hour and everything else. Just like, so yeah.
How long ago was it built?
It's maybe a year old now.
Okay. I knew it was relatively new, but I didn't know if it was like a year or 5 years.
Probably close to something like that. Probably close to a year now, maybe a little over. But yeah, anyway, so I got a couple questions for you, and I got been having fun with some of these and just kind of silly, but say the day comes along, we have a Logan Chapman action figure. Who would you, or what would you like to see as like maybe your 3 accessories to go with your action figure?
My 3 accessories. I gotta have my cat.
Yeah.
I gotta have my cat Luna. Probably a guitar. I mean, realistically, probably a guitar.
Do you have a particular model or?
You know what? Yeah. So I use my acoustic guitar a lot, but I definitely like. Yeah, if I were to choose between 2, I would use my Mahogany Taylor, or I've got a Yamaha Pacifica, which is kind of like a Strat basically, but it's a little Japanese like Stratocaster Yamaha model that I use a lot at like my electric shows. So one of those 2.
Yeah,
I'd flip a coin honestly. What would my 3rd accessory be? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll make my other accessory my other guitar. How about that?
Yeah.
I got a cat and 2 guitars.
Interchangeable.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There we go. All right. What about? We mentioned a lot of greats. Through this conversation, is there a certain dream duet or collaboration you would love to see for yourself? I mean, is there a certain one that you would really like to work with?
I've thought about that a lot. Probably, like I said, one of the 2, probably Jason Isbell, John Mayer. Those would definitely be big ones. I wouldn't mind collaborating with Chris Stapleton. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah. You know who else I like? I like Taylor Swift a lot.
Yeah,
I like Taylor Swift a lot.
I saw your.
Oh yeah, that's bad. Yeah, it's my girlfriend's. Yeah. My mom got her that.
You got your
got a full on shrine of Taylor Swift over here,
like a worship candle.
Yeah,
with Taylor's face on it. Yeah,
I guess my mom. I don't know where my mom got that from. My girlfriend opened that. And she's like, "What the heck is this?" But it cracked me up.
Yeah, I got buddies, Manis Brothers in town. They got. They actually sell those with like their faces on them, and
oh, really? Okay.
Or they did at one time. I don't know if I'm sure they sold out of them, but yeah, it was the same kind of thing. Just like it's super silly.
Yeah, it's goofy.
Yeah, but Taylor. Yeah, she's got some.
I like her stuff a lot. I remember whenever she released Folklore right in the middle of the pandemic, and I could not stop listening to that album. I love that album. Folklore is really good. Evermore is good too, and I like all of her stuff. Don't get me wrong, but like Folklore just kind of hit me different for sure. It might have been just because of like it being a folk album, I guess, and like the lyrical content and stuff. Like I could like relate to it a little bit more, but I love that album.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think her and Mayer too. Mayer is like I use his example a lot, but like I love like that he's a true artist that does like there's no genre that's off limits kind of thing. Like every album he does is something completely different.
Yeah.
He's from pop to blues, Americana.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's jamming with the Dead, and it's like so many things. He's just gone to every.
That Sob Rock album he just dropped was like it sounded like it came straight from the 80s. It sounded like it was like Toto or something.
Yeah, it's definitely very yacht rock,
synthy,
like kind of adult contemporary kind of rock and 80s influence things, and like it was a great record. I also really liked like the little touches on like the artwork, like with the sticker price on there and stuff, like things like that, like kind of a nod back to a generation when we actually would you can still do it, just not as common anymore to go into record stores and actually shopping for these things compared to just having everything on your Spotify or whatever. So
exactly.
But, it's nice when luckily we still have one of the greats here, Vintage Vinyl in St. Louis, and we got a couple of really nice record stores around town.
I love that place, man. I think that's why I like vinyl so much, is because it's so cool. Just like going in there and being like, oh my god, like here's Continuum, or like you know what I'm saying, like whatever else. I got a bunch of like Muddy Waters and like Little Richard and like stuff like that over here. So it's always nice finding like good classic vinyls.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I try to buy a lot, like as much as I can locally. When luckily a lot of my friends been putting their stuff on vinyl, so it's pretty cool to collect those too. So
yeah,
but yeah, man. All right, what about is there a movie or a TV show you wish you were in? Like, is there a certain world you fantasize? Like, is that be cool to be a part of that at all?
Like acting it?
Yeah, or just like, be a character of some sort, in this world. Or
there was this do you listen to creepypastas at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so they're basically like these long stories that you can find on YouTube. They're like as long as a podcast sometimes, or they can be 7 minutes. But it's basically just like these scary stories. There was one called Baraska, and it's really, really good. You should check it out. I won't spoil it all the way on here. But if there was ever a movie adaptation for it, I was like, man, I would love to play that lead character. It's actually all based in Missouri too. So it's all in Missouri. It's like it's a fictional town. I don't think the town's actually like real. But yeah, it's like a horror story. All based in like the Ozarks and like Missouri and stuff like that. But I would love to be an actor in that if there's ever a movie adaptation for it. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out now.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. And what about, is there anything something you like tried that you would never do again? Is like, you ever get like skydiving or anything like any of those crazy things?
I'm a big adrenaline junkie, so there's a lot of stuff that I do. I'm like, oh, I would totally do that again. I don't know, because I haven't gone skydiving before. I've been like bungee jumping. There's not a whole lot of stuff that I've done that I wouldn't do again.
Right.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
There's certain foods that I would never try again.
What's that?
I'm not big on mushrooms.
Yeah.
Not big on and my girlfriend will like sneak them in like my food and stuff like that. I can't do mushrooms. Olives. You know what? Going back to this, there's a lot of foods that my girlfriend has made me try that I will never try again, and I could get you a list of those, but not a whole lot of experiences though. I'm a big adrenaline junkie. Like I would love to go skydiving. Next time I go to Vegas, I want to go bungee jumping off the stratosphere. I'm really big into like motorsports and stuff like that. So
we were gonna do. We went down to. Went to see Chili Peppers in Orlando, and I guess. Right out, and we also went to the Universal Studios down there.
Yeah,
and I guess right outside of Orlando, like is one of like those giant swing things. I forget what it's called.
I know what you're talking about.
But where they like pull your way up and then release you and just like you go flying and we were gonna do it, but I think it like got late. Like by the time after riding around at Universal, also we got kicked out of Universal because of the storm. So I think that had to do with it too. Like
I thought you were about to say something crazier than that. I was like, what'd you do to get kicked out of there?
It was like they shut down all the rides and stuff. So we're like, well, let's get out of here then. So,
I went on one of those one time at Six Flags, actually, and that was a lot scarier than what I thought it would be too. Because it's like, I guess it's because of how slow they take you in the air, and you have like a good like minute and 45 seconds to be like, oh wow, we're really really high up.
Well, I think the one in Orlando, I think is the world's largest. I think that's what caught my attention was like it's. So I've seen it in other places, but this one's apparently like real big.
Yeah,
and so, but yeah. So I don't know, we didn't make it, but so I think about that, and I think about like some of those different crazy bungee jumping places and different things like that.
Yeah.
Like,
do you like doing stuff like that?
I don't know about like it, but I'm not opposed to it. I mean, like I'm up to trying anything, like kind of thing. I'm not don't know about being necessarily. I don't think I would describe myself as an adrenaline junkie, but I do find those things are fun, and I mean, I like roller coasters a lot and stuff. Like, it is a good time, and it's exciting, but it's also like I don't really get to do some of those things because of my size. Like, I barely get to ride roller coasters because a lot of them I don't fit in. Like, so it's like I was kind of a big gamble going to Universal. I was like, man, I really hope I fit in some of these. I didn't want to get standing in these lines, but luckily they have a lot of like trial seats or whatever, kind of things like at the gates, like, so you don't have to like go get in line and
so you can tell at the very beginning.
Right. So I was like, but sometimes with those like shoulder bars and stuff, like it just it won't fit. And there was one moment I was on a ride and it was pretty close. Like I was like, and she's like pushing on it and couldn't get it. She's like, here, hop off and we'll get you this next one. Because she said, I guess it was a different car or whatever that she thought that maybe had just a little bit more room or something, like kind of thing. So then I jump on that one and try a second one. And she's like, no, that still didn't work. So she gets me out and it's like, one more try. And then and then the whole thing, like, one is, I'm getting anxious anyway, because this is one of those rides that like doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. Like it slows down enough to people load in and jump off and kind of thing. And but they never properly stop it until, for me, because they're struggling to get me locked in and out and stuff. Right. So I'm already like getting like, I don't want to. I'm kind of getting embarrassed. Like, I'm all right. Hey, it's not that big a deal. If I don't fit, I'll just go sit over here. Like, but she's like, one more try. So the third one, I finally get in there, and I got to ride it, and like, it's kind of like Ninja here locally, like just like one of those like just,
really really fast.
Yeah, and just all kinds.
I'm glad it worked out. Man. I'm glad it worked out.
So they had a happy ending, but I was just like, some of those things, like I just don't want to even mess with it because like I don't want to get up there and find out like, oh, actually you're, over the weight limit or too tall or what, those kind of things. So, yeah. Yeah, man. But I wouldn't be, maybe next podcast we'll go do some skydiving together or something like that.
Heck yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
That'd be a pretty wild, trying to record that. But
better have some good mics for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But yeah, man, this has been a ton of fun getting to know a little bit more about you. And I thank you for sharing some of these songs with us today.
Absolutely.
And again, join us if you are in the Cape Girardeau area at Rude Dog Pub in February 24th.
February 24th, yep.
And then is that same night the EP will be?
So no, the EP will be releasing basically at midnight. So it'll be available that whole day. But I mean, yeah, it's essentially the same day. But yeah, right. we're performing at 9:00 that night at Rude Dog. So
right, but then
so you got all day to listen to it.
Yeah, right. So it'll be on the streaming platforms the same day, and you can check that out and stuff. So, but yeah, Logan, this has been cool, man.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Hopefully we can hang out again soon and catch up, and maybe next time maybe you get debut some more new tunes for us.
Yeah, I'd love to
and stuff. So
I've already got a lot of new songs in the works. I'm excited to get back in the studio. Honestly, I got some great stuff that I'm excited to show you guys. I'm excited for the EP release too, but I'm kind of sitting on some good stuff that I'm really excited to show the world too. So
yeah, right on, man. All right, buddy. Well, thanks again, and I will see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Bye, everybody.